Just to recap, we got the bus painted.
Homegrown alligator, see you later, gonna hit the road.
We fitted all the parts.
Some change in the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar.
We had Christmas in July with a nice Spitronic ECU.
Time flies by in the yellow and green, stick around
And we got the van purring like a tiger.
mountaintop where I'm feeling up. If you need, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like the someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun.
So the next challenge was an exhaust, and I just didn't want any old exhaust, as I have teenagers that like to play this Xbox game called Forza. And I noticed that they have 3 exhaust pipes at the back, and I wanted something like that. So because I had a V6 engine, I had the 2 branches, the 2 pipes coming out, I needed to go into a silencer, I needed to come out of the silencer and then tail out into these 3 tailpipes. The only silencer that could work was a Golf 6, so it went into the Golf 6 box and it came out on the top, and then I used what they call a resonator and I drilled 3 holes with a hole saw. I was successful to an extreme with a hole saw. And then I welded the 3 tailpipes on. So after I welded and fitted the exhaust, I had to hear what it sounded like. Okay, so clearly this bus needs some dyno tuning with that backfire. So we wanted a bus with a bit of an attitude, and the VW rims just didn't cut it. They were a bit too thin. And we went off to a scrapyard and got ourselves some Mercedes-Benz rims and widened them with about 2 inches. And that fits perfectly onto the VW buses. So I have a buddy by the name Brahm who works for Muller Developments. It's close to a racetrack here in Pretoria, and he dyno tunes mainly Spitronic ECUs, and also a very famous race driver. He races Subarus. He's got a fantastic dyno tuning unit, and we pulled up onto his ramp, and this ramp is quite special because remember, a Syncro is a 4-wheel drive, so we have to have 2 drums that roll, 1 in the back, 1 in the front. So we started it up, rev shotgun up a few times. So now that shotgun has been dyno tuned, we're making our way home and we're going to do the final touches. Alright, now that the bus is back in the workshop, it's time to sort out all that spaghetti wiring. Now spaghetti wiring is wiring that's all over each other, like spaghetti in a pot. And we don't want that. It's time to get some cloth tape, tidy up the engine bay, put the ECU in a waterproof container, sort out the dashboard with the fuse box because all that wiring underneath the dash must get sorted out, and then also fit some trailer towing sockets. We put 1 in the front and 1 in the back. The 1 in the front is used for if we tow it with the A-frame, that all the lights at the back of shotgun lights up for safety reasons. So that is our next project. So I wanted the front of the bus to look just a little bit different, and I really like a G-Wagon. And I thought, how can I make this microbus look like a G-Wagon? I didn't want double lights or triple lights or anything funny. So I took the headlights, put in LED beams, cut little slots underneath the round lights, and I added 2 thin LEDs at the bottom, and then I also changed the grill's paint. I brought the paint in a little bit more, I color coded it, and I had a solid line going down the front, as what the G-Wagon does. So the rear of the bus, very simple. The lights, I didn't want to go too fancy. All that I knew, I wanted LED lights in there that was waterproof and that you can get at any truck stop or DIY shop, and that's what we fitted. So having such a nice bus with a big V6 engine in, we need big sound with a big beefy beat. So we put speakers in the roof and 2 12-inch speakers between the front bench and the middle bench, powered with 2 20,000 watt amps that was under the front seats, and wow, this van has sound. So as the final assembly came along with shotgun, we found 2 major problems. The first problem was we fitted the lift kit into the bus because we were accommodating for 10 people to ride in there. But the shock absorber, although it was a Syncro shock absorber, was bottoming out. It was fully extended the whole time. So the only way for me to resolve this was to make two little flat bar extenders, and I think they were about 50 mil long or something like that, just to help the shock out a little bit. And then the second problem was the power steering. We had endless problems. The power steering pump backed up. Then we had no power steering. Then the power steering fluid boiled out the top of the bottle. I must have wasted 20 liters of ATF in countless hours. And guys, you know what the problem was? In the reservoir, if you pull the reservoir out, had a little gauze sieve at the bottom, and this was bunged up with silicone.
Okay, well, it's time for me to fit the prop shaft into the bus, but before I do that, I just want to see this viscous coupler is working and doing what it's supposed to do. I've opted for not a direct couple. I'm still going to leave the viscous coupling in. What you do is you put a block of wood under your front wheel to lock it so that your bus doesn't move. Get a 26 wrench and you put it onto your flange nut here and you start turning. See, there's a little bit of slippage, and that's exactly what you want, which means those viscous plates are doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
Alright, so something more decorative. We had to make ourselves a nice decklet to go over the engine bay. This was the most important part of the bus because that is where our cooler box went. So I made work of that. I couldn't wait to fill a cooler box with beer, cool drinks and ice. So we were off to the guys who did the wheel alignment, and while I was underneath the bus, I could inspect the chassis from front to back, and it was perfect.
I'll be riding shotgun. I'll be riding shotgun. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone.
So our holiday destination was Mozambique. The road was Pretoria, Nelspruit, Komatipoort, into Mozambique, Maputo and Belém.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun. I'll be riding shotgun. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone.
So looking back on this journey, what did I learn? Well, the first thing was Syncro is a great vehicle. I learned how to drive a Syncro, I learned how to build a Syncro. I love a Syncro. This 4x4 ability of a Syncro is truly amazing. Number two, it brought our family together. We had so much fun. We were free to explore anywhere and everything. Oh, so this thing behind me, well, it looks like a split window. I seem to love Syncros. It looks a little bit wider. And his name is Fireball. You'll have to wait for the next journey.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like the sun.